Hi everybody, Richard Tromans here again, Artificial Lawyer TV. Today we're doing another product walkthrough. This time it's Majoto, which is a doc automation platform, but quite an interesting one. And Dennis is here to tell us a bit more about it. Hi Dennis.
Hi Richard, pleasure to be here.
Good to have you on the show. In time-honored tradition, I will now disappear and let you explain a bit more about it. But just to whet the appetite of viewers, this isn't just your standard doc automation system. There's a lot more to it, as Dennis will explain.
That's right. So Mojoto is different in a few ways. It's different in terms of how it's built, because it's built on Google Workspace rather than a sort of conventional platform. And it's also different in terms of what it does. And in particular, it does things which are all about improving the user journey and the user experience rather than just improving efficiency. And I'll walk you through it. Just to say, I'm the founder of Mojoto. We started a couple of years ago with me playing around with Google Sheets and trying to do something different that's not in a doc or a Word with contracts. Trying to solve the solution, trying to solve the big problems with contracts differently. And this is where we are now. Fantastic. So I founded Majoto because I felt that a lot of the work around contract process improvement and also the tech was really digitizing and speeding up kind of existing processes. And I felt that because contracts are as much of a human problem as a process problem, it was important to try to do something differently. So that's why we're here, despite the fact that there's a lot of contract solutions out there. And what we're doing with Mojoto, we're really trying to bring in legal design and marry it with tech. And we're doing this in order to change how contracts look and work, to make them basically a better user experience, create trust. And we believe that that's also the best way to gain efficiency and solve the real dysfunctions with contracts. So we do this in three ways, and I'll just describe them very quickly and I'll show you how we do it. The first is that we automate legal design. So we believe we're the first solution out there that can actually deal with pictures and design patterns, and I'll show you what we mean by that. We're also about empowering business users, so giving power to the business users rather than just the lawyers. So we have a very simple self-serve system that does that. And finally, we're also about collaborating better in the way that you build and negotiate contract. And especially, we have an approach which is about real-time, structured real-time collaboration, as opposed to document ping pong, which everyone's used to and gets kind of quite frustrated with. So I'm just going to show you a couple of examples of what the end result looks like with Mojoto. So here's an example of a contract that's been generated with Mojoto. It's a doc export, and you can see that we can handle iconography and images. We can do things like agreement maps and other design patterns. And really, this is about creating a document that's just more usable, and especially a document that that people can understand and also get a little bit kind of excited about. So I'm just sort of showing you a few sort of examples of some of the visuals that we can work into this. This is an example of another agreement. This is actually the World Commerce and Contracting NDA. So you can see a very different kind of design, iconography, various sort of patterns here that we can do. And finally, just the pièce de résistance is a document that we're working with at the moment with the Clara Legal Design. And this is their proposal template. So this just shows you that we can generate and automate contracts which are actually very, very highly visually designed. So how do you actually, this is an example of it in PDF form as well. So so far, these are just the end result. This is the export. So how do you achieve that result? So I'm going to show you two ways. The first is that we have this light, what we call the light mode, which is a browser mode, which allows you to surface a very simple self-service workflow, and I'll show you that first. So let's have a look at the World Commerce and Contract NDA first. Let's just wait for that to appear. So the first thing you'll notice is that unlike systems out there, we don't go through a Q&A workflow. What we instead present to the user is a spectrum of choices, and we try to make it kind of human readable. So this is an example of an NDA choice where you can actually choose, well, do you want a one-way only, or is your situation a bit different? Maybe it's mostly you disclosing information, or maybe it's two-way equal, or maybe it's mostly them. And that allows you to choose and generate the agreement that you want, exactly the agreement that you want. I'm going to show you this with a more, how this works with a more exciting agreement. So this is a collaboration agreement that we use at Mojoto. So you can choose what kind of collaborator you've got. So let's say I go with the developer, and the system will just surface the document content in a second. Maybe a little bit slower because of the internet. So here you have the agreement that we saw earlier. There's a progress bar that kind of shows you where you're at. And basically, as you can see, you can work with this agreement. It's got all the visual patterns, and you can start customizing it. So let's put in a date. Let's choose some parameters from the drop downs. And let's perhaps insert a free field. So project, let's just say project description placeholder. So this way I can start sort of finalizing and customizing the agreement. What we've also got here is a playbook. So the playbook gives the user a traffic light guidance as to what they can and can't change, and can actually provide alternative clauses. So you can see here, these alternative clauses show up in red, what's different in the clause, and you can basically plug those into the agreement. And that's basically permitted changes within permitted parameters. And once you've done customizing that agreement, you click save. And basically the system is now preparing this document in the background for export and e-signature. So here we go. Here's the, you're now ready to share this agreement, and you can e-sign it using HelloSigns, using Mojoto's HelloSign integration or your own, or actually just get it exported manually. So I can put in the parties here, so the signatories. Put in some addresses. So let's put these addresses. So what I can do now is I can just share the document with me, and this will basically give me a PDF or a doc export in my email. Or I can send it off for e-signature, which basically will give the recipients a HelloSign link. And that's it. So this is a simple way of enabling self-serve, whether it's part of a managed service or for your business colleagues if you're a legal team. And it's just sort of a simple way of getting documents out, but with enough sophistication to basically customize, choose exactly the agreement that you want and to customize it based on your needs. But that's the light mode. The reality is that Mojoto is actually built inside Google Sheets. And the reason why it's built inside Google Sheets is that when we started, well, we wanted to solve the problem differently. And we felt that that Docs, Word, and the kind of editors, the sort of doc editors that you see in conventional contract automation platforms were just too limiting. They're not functional enough. And what that led is to sort of complex workflows that sort of compensates for the inherent lack of function of the underlying tool. So we started looking at actually using Google Sheets rather than a doc editor as a foundation. So when you install Mojoto, you get a nice little red folder, and that basically contains all the subfolders with things like your templates and your exports. So that's a very simple kind of self-organizing system. So I'm going to show you a couple of features inside the agreement. So as you can see, we're now in the Google Sheets environment. And inside, we replicate a web style interface. There are buttons that you can press. This is where you can launch, select and launch and generate your contract. And once it's generated, here's your agreement. It looks exactly as you saw it in the doc export. And it also has the playbook, as you can see, that you can basically use to insert alternative clauses. So you can sort of go through again and customize this agreement as you need to. There's a little bit more sophistication here in terms of how you can fill it in. We have various memory functions that allow you to very quickly complete the document based on past examples, and give you some sort of quite sophisticated choices in terms of completing the document. On top of that, what we have is a risk report. So you can see that out of the changes I've made by operating the playbook, I actually get a risk report that shows me what changes I've made and whether they are within permitted parameters or outside of permitted parameters. And that's basically part of our kind of empowering the business functionality, that this allows them to sort of understand, well, what's gone wrong. It also allows the lawyers, if this is then escalated, allows the lawyers to go in and see, okay, here's these are the changes that have been made. Here's the detail of the changes, and it's just being completed as we speak. So you can actually go in and look at the track changes and see what's different. So that's essentially the self-serve mode inside the full version of Mojoto.
How do you get those images in?
So let me show you. So absolutely, let me show you. And I've just clicked on the hamburger here, and that's popped up some of the special Mojoto items. So if I want to do this, I'm going to insert a design pattern. So I can insert clauses, I can insert copies of selections. But I'm going to show you how you insert a design pattern like an agreement map. And basically what the system's now doing is that it's building up a dynamic map of the whole agreement. That will then allow me to insert content into relevant bits of the hierarchy. So it's just going to take a second to come up, because as I say, it's this is a sort of medium-sized agreement, and it's going to just build up all the bits and pieces. What I'll also show you then, hopefully if we have time, is also show you the agreement mapping tool, which is another way of working with agreement maps. And the whole point of these this functionality for us is not just about it's definitely not about making documents pretty, and it's not even just about making documents look and work better and be more comprehensible. It actually opens up a different way of working with documents altogether, like building them up from patterns and from components, instead of just Frankensteining an old precedent, which is what most of us are still doing despite all the tech out there. So you can see this has surfaced the map, and basically this is a map of the agreement, and you can sort of go in and explore all the different sections. So let's say I'm going to go into the statement of work, and I can then let's say in the project plan, I've already got I can insert a project plan. So I can choose the pattern and I can preview it. So you can see this is what it looks like, and I'll say yes or no. Do I like that or not? Now I've already got a project plan, but maybe I want to include a timeline. So let's say I'm going to choose a timeline. This will surface the timeline. Doesn't seem to like it. There it goes. So you've got timeline. So I can insert that, and I can also, let's say at a higher level, if I wanted to, I'm going to insert a new agreement map. So let's say I'm going to insert a new objectives-led agreement map, which is a way of sort of creating contracts from an initial set of objectives. So I'm going to save that, and hopefully that will all go in okay.
But what about the images though?
Well, the iconography right now is in a separate piece. So there's a separate kind of design tab in your control panel where you can build in the iconographies, and we're building a separate icons library. So in the same way that you can do these things with patterns and clauses, we will have an icons library. It's not yet done.
So thanks very much, Dennis, and I look forward to hearing how this all goes. Thank you.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.